Hey, welcome. This is the last one, but don't go away. All right, so if you're new here, I'm writing a book in a week. This is the 20th chapter. We're getting it at towards the end of the beginning or the end of the 5th hour. I don't even know how much time it's taken me. I was shooting for like an hour a day. I went over by like 10 minutes a couple times, but I might cut those. I don't know. Cut those down, take out some of the and so's and where was I's. And so you can write a book in a week. I've done it. This is the official walkthrough. This is the official beta view. The beta version of write a book in a week. And I set a low bar because this is social media. Social media shouldn't go too in depth. So I've sort of tricked you into writing a whole book with me. And I've taken you through all the emotional turns. I went through the emotional turns. That was fun. I was very sad yesterday. There was one time when a spider got on my hand. I saved it. I'm a hero. Saved the spider. Maybe I can call my book Save the Spider. That's fun. That's like shutting down my mind. So when you get to what matters the most, and I'm talking about what matters the most after going through this arduous process. I had tingling in my fingers because I was holding the note cards too tightly or something. Maybe I had too many note cards. I got my hand free right now. This is and then I make 4 videos a day. I've been doing this this is my 4th month. 4 angel number. That's fun. All right, so the topic of today is elenchus. This was Socrates' process, refutation. Okay, so Socrates would take a topic, the ancient Greek philosopher. Yes, we can talk about that. This is the end. I was guessing that this might be the appendix, right? This isn't even how to, no, this is how to write. I think it's still chapter 20. I don't know. We can consider it. This is like part of the editing process. Yeah, so like the last video, it was about the process of either ending the book and what goes into ending a book, and then, or ending the book and making sequels. And so there's tons of sequels for this book that I'm making. The 2-week book, all right? The book will be 2 weeks. I'll write it in 2 weeks, and it'll be more detailed, more focused. Even though you think you can add more focus in editing, and you can, if you spend a little bit more time, like 2 weeks, you just spend 2 weeks more on your book. Well, 2 weeks on your book rather than 1 week. And then maybe spend more than an hour and a half a day. Maybe spend like 2 hours a day. I know you're busy. I'm busy. So like, when I tell people about this book, I'm going to say, next week, I got about 5 hours free. No, it's closer to 8. But 5 hours free to write this book. And, come join me, ask me questions, and you can help me out. You can help steer the book in the direction of, because you're an aspiring writer. So what are you struggling with? I'm not guessing. I'm going on the writer forums. I'm looking for the aspiring writers posts. And, I found that you guys work on themes. You're reading the posts too. Maybe I should just advertise on those forums. Well, definitely do that. And then I was sharing this idea with my friends, and like on a Zoom thing, and one guy said, "Hey, I want this, sign me up." Well, you're here. I mean, it's not like. All right. So the elenchus. So Socrates would say something like, someone would tell Socrates how smart they are and what they know. And Socrates would decide whether, they do know it or they don't know it, something like that. And then he would say something like, so it would go like this, that you say, I'm writing this rough draft. All my teachers tell me to write a rough draft first. I went to this great college, or I went to the community college, or I read this online that you have to rough draft. And then I would say, well, take experiences in life, okay? I'm going down the street, right? This is like a story. My reaction is I take out my phone and I write a book, right? Other people have different reactions to going down the street. I put on my rollerblades. So the reflection of the sun is going off here, distracting me. Okay, I'm going down the street, right? These are the things that are happening as I'm going down the street. Some things sound like stories, and then some things sound like very short stories, right? Elements of stories. And then other things don't sound like stories at all. But it's rare. It's rare when you're trying to fill up time. It's rare when you're trying to fill up time. I think the lady thought I was taking a video of her. There were a bunch of cyclists go by, right? There's 20 cyclists went by on the street. It's a very athletic street. And then dog walkers too. And they must be cleaning up after the dogs. Where am I going with this? Okay, so some things sound like stories. Some stories you don't want to hear. And so what happens is that it turns out that you can't share an experience, can't even experience anything really, without reading the situation and making a connection to it. If you don't do that, how is it a story at all, right? And so this pattern cycles up. And so this pattern goes so that there's a situation for a book. There's a situation for a book, and then there's a reaction. A character writes themselves into the book or not, right? Or a character gets written into the book or not. And so there you go. So you have the second by second situation and reaction, and then you have the whole book situation and reaction. And then what's in between? And Aristotle would say, oh, there's a, this is great. It's like all philosopher day. All philosopher chapter. Aristotle says, well, there's a middle. So the book starts, with a situation, and it ends with a situation. And in between are middle types of situations. But actually it's not. It's that there's beginnings and endings all the way through, right? There's punctuation all the way through. You don't start, there's very few books that are written in one sentence. That would be fun. That's a challenge, okay? Write a book in one sentence. Make it really long. Make it a 200-page book, right? That's your debut book in one sentence. Because you can do like different things. I'll allow you different types of punctuation. You can do semicolons and so on. Learn those rules. Maybe you know those rules. If you know those rules, you could write a book in one sentence. In one sentence book, and write it in 1 week. Oh boy. All right. I think I covered Elenchus too. I wasn't even holding my note cards. Yeah, I regressed because I started with no note cards. Then I became over dependent on note cards. Now I'm putting them away. Oh, I've got notes on where I go next. I have to go shopping. Let's see. Yes. So how can we end this? How can we end this chapter? This chapter is 10 minutes long. That's kind of a short chapter. So here's the structure. So you've got your your observation interval. I'm looking around, right? Every second I'm looking around. I'm figuring out my situation. Hold on a second. It's funny, she's talking to someone else, but I don't see her phone. All right, there's other people on the path, which make these little stories, these little tangents. Okay, so you're looking around, you're responding, right? There was like a little story there. And so it advances into beginnings and endings. Something begins and ends. So you read your situation, and then you write yourself into or out of it based on what you know. Okay? So I know that I'm coming to the end of a 20-page book that I wrote in a week. Now comes like all the video processing stuff. It's not going to take too long. I wonder, maybe I should do it like one go. I usually do a bunch of videos at once. So, well, this is a bunch of videos at once. So I'll do a whole week's worth of videos at once. Download them. I've already backed up some though, so I've messed up my timing calculation. So ideally, I would figure out how long it takes to back up the videos, and then review them. Take out the things that I don't want in there. It's very few most of the time. Usually there's no cuts, and then you know, I dress up the front because I want to get people who, you know, they're not thinking that they're going to write a book. You're going to write a book. This is how. And now you got this online guide. You can do this. You get in trouble? Hey, pop a question in the comments any day of the week. May take a while for me to get back to you. You may have to rely on my loyal viewers. I love my loyal viewers. Oh, I'm so thankful. This could take up the rest of this. I'm so thankful that I get to talk with you guys, to share, to enlighten you that there's all these stories going on in your head, and it's normal. I think it's normal. Yes, it's normal, certainly for a writer. You got all these stories going on in your head, and the way to get them down on paper may be just you pick up your phone and talk into it. You put it in a video processing program that can make a transcript out of it, or you put it online. Yeah, YouTube's the best. Just make a private YouTube channel for yourself, for your book, and you download the transcript. This is the perpetual homework. You're supposed to do that with my videos, and then circle the points where you see opportunity, evaluation, and assessment. And then here's how to level up. Let me level you up. So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna do that, right? And you find where the opportunities on the sentence level start linking together on the larger levels. This was one of the steps when I was discovering the story patterns, the story sentences and story arcs. So there was one point where I was saying, well, you know, I've cut these sentences up, and it's like, what will the reader predict from this sentence that leads to something that happens later on? And so what you do is you just ask a prediction sentence. All right, you're working backwards from the end of the story, and then you work backwards, and you come up with a prediction sentence for each and every sentence of the story. And then you'll see that these prediction sentences, they cluster. All right, and where are they going to cluster around? The attestments. They're going to cluster around the attestments. They're going to cluster around other things too, but they're going to cluster around the attestments, the things that matter the most. And then very many questions won't get answered. So don't ask the questions going forward. Ask the questions going from the back of the story. And you can do this with your own stories. And it's awesome. It takes forever asking a question for every sentence in the story. And then there's a shortcut to that. And the shortcut is the class that I teach. I'm gonna open up that class for new students soon. I want to build up this channel first, but in that class, I took those things and I turned them into story arcs. Then from the story arcs, I made a question. I made 19 questions that they get repeated all the time. You're a robot. And so we made it to the last part. I'm so thankful that we got here. You stuck with this 5 hours, 5 or more hours, and I had a final message for you. Especially if you're thinking about, going deeper and deeper into writing. All right, you ready for this one? You're a robot. You're a robot. You're a robot. Once you get to the upper levels, you're a robot. There's only 19 questions. I was doing this with Jane Austen's a robot. I was doing this with Jane Austen the other day. I got a copy of Sense and Sensibility, and I went through and I was finding all the questions. I got stuck at one point. It was hard. And so when you get stuck, sometimes you're just tired. So I'll go back to that. That'll be fun. I wonder if I'll get. No, I'm not gonna get through the whole book. I do this with short stories, and I do about 1,000 words an hour. See, right? I can talk faster than I can analyze. So that would take 50 hours to do a 50,000 word book. Jane Austen's books are 100,000 words, and maybe I could just, I could stop. I mean, the first 100, 200 words, you see that pattern, bam. Sorry. You become a writer at that point. All right, thank you very much. You have a great time. Look for my next book. Look for my next sequels. Put your questions down below. Help me write my next books. I told you the working titles. So ask your questions about those things. Ask about writing a book in a week. Ask about writing a book in 2 weeks. Ask about questions about writing a book in 4 weeks. Ask about writing a book in a day. Well, you've got to be committed for that one. That's changing lanes. That would be changing lanes for me. I write a book a week. I could write a book in a day. I could, because this is only a 5-hour rampage. Rampage is the word of the day. I saw someone running across the street. He looked like he was on a rampage. But that at first, and then it just turned out to be some college kid. I think he was afraid of getting run over. Don't jaywalk. Why can't I end this video? Because it's been such a big thing, and now I got a calling card. I got a beta version, right? And you can get here. This is how it feels. It feels like, wow, this calling card that I have, write a book in a week. That's amazing. And you know where it's going after that. Write a book in a day. That's awesome. All right. So take care. Don't beat yourself up. This isn't an overnight thing. I've been studying this a long time. I found the 19-point story arc in 2022. Right? This is 2026. It took me 4 years to go from that point to here. So, yeah, I'm helping you along. So you have a fun time. See ya.